Hello and welcome to episode 100 of The New Normal with Steve Benaquist. With The New Normal with Steve Benaquist. With The New Normal with Steve Benaquist. With The New Normal. I'm New Normal and this is The Steve Benaquist. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy, I'm proud, I'm humbled to make it here to episode 100 with you, and I timed it out so that this would fall on Inauguration Day. And keep reading. There he is. I'm keeping it old school shirt-wise today. But I'm sure you're all right with that. Hey, and before anyone who isn't all right with that goes anywhere, if I have any viewers who support Trump, wanted to go that route, President Biden addressed something that is super important in his speech, and lots of people have been talking about it, and that is the reality gap. I think the fact that so many people believe this election was stolen without any proof is a huge problem. And I heard an interview with a number of Trump supporters on NPR a couple of days ago, and the people who get their news from OANN and Fox and Newsmax and these other places, and they said that's where we get our news, and that's what we've been told, and that's what we believe. And when asked what it would take to prove to them that the election was fair, they really didn't know. And a couple of things. If anyone watching the show works in the right-wing media, and it's opinion. It's not even news, really. It's a propaganda machine. And you have a conscience. I mean, hey, there are people like Shep Smith who moved on because they couldn't stand it. But, for the sake of everything, keep it together, fess up. Make an editorial decision. And I was thinking, like, I'm sympathetic. If a politician I trusted and news sources I trusted were all saying something, I would believe it. But I think the one thing you can point to is those 60 plus court cases that were either outright rejected or that were lost on behalf of Trump's efforts to overturn the election. And many will point out that one was won. That win, to be specific, was in Pennsylvania, and the Pennsylvania law had changed in the past year to allow 9 days to cure a vote, which is if you have a ballot that has a problem with it that can be fixed, but you got to find the voter and say, is that really your signature, or did you mean to fill in that circle? They can do it. So they had 9 days, and Trump's team won the right to winnow it down to 6 days. So his big win was making it harder to count everyone's vote. So big surprise. Anyway, there you go. But look at those cases, and many of those judges were appointed by Trump. Not to mention, I'm sure, other Republican presidents, but definitely Trump, and they said no. And I don't know what it'll take to wake people up, but hang in there and be patient and kind with each other. I just watched. I'm having to redo this. I actually did this live at noon West Coast time on Facebook. Never again. Well, maybe sometime, but it was touchy. The sound is bad, and it's lost to the ages. It was live, and now I don't know. But in any case, I'm glad that I just ended the day watching the rest of the inauguration performances, and I gotta say, I was so moved. When I just saw the speeches earlier, they were very moving, but the music is powerful. It moves you. One more thing about the news. There used to be a thing called the Fairness Doctrine. This is a law passed by Congress. It was in place from 1949 to 1987. And it required broadcasters of television or radio to give equal time to opposing opinions. So you could have news, but once it got into expressing advocating for one side or the other, you had to give equal time. And I think it's no surprise that Fox News came into existence not long after that went away, and that politics have been so divided. I mean, we had our divisions before, but it got pretty extreme. So that is one thing Congress could do. Bring back the Fairness Act or something like it. Maybe something that is in step with our modern media, because things have certainly changed that way. Yeah, a couple thoughts on the outgoing guy, who I gotta say, like election night back in 2016. It's just one of the things that made me saddest was knowing that I was going to keep hearing his voice and seeing his face and be caught up in his narcissism for another 4 years, 4 to 8, my God. And now we know maybe it would have been longer. But there are a few things to say about him. One, he didn't show up at the inauguration, and everyone keeps saying he's the first since 1869 when Andrew Johnson wouldn't, when he snubbed Ulysses S. Grant on his inauguration. And I must point out that's not exactly true. You have Garfield, not the cat, the president, although his successor was Heathcliff. Garfield didn't show up to Heathcliff's inauguration. McKinley also was nowhere to be found. FDR was not at Truman's. And you cannot say fairly that JFK was all the way with LBJ, because where was he? Anyway, yeah, as far as living outgoing presidents, yes, that is true about Trump and Andrew Johnson. Another thing, Trump may be booted from my union, the Screen Actors Guild / AFTRA. I joined SAG in 2000. AFTRA is the American Federation of TV Radio Artists. So he's getting kicked out. You can get kicked out just for doing non-union work. He's facing getting kicked out for endangering the lives of all those reporters who were at the Capitol on January 6th. That'd be a first, I think. So weird that he's in a union. He seems like such an anti-union kind of guy. Then there were his pardons, much talked about. There was Lil Wayne. I keep wondering why, and I think maybe it's the Lil thing. Maybe he got him confused with Lidl, as he wrote it in his tweets, lit with 2 Ds. Lidl, Marco Rubio. In fact, one of his last executive orders was to pardon anyone, any musician with Lil in their name. Lidl Kim, Lidl Richard, and Lidl Stevie Wonder. He's not Lidl anymore. He's 70 or something. He also pardoned Kwame Kilpatrick. And I think maybe he didn't notice the African first name and the Kilpatrick. He likes lots of Scottish people everywhere. Either that, or he just saw that Kilpatrick was convicted for tax evasion. He's like, game recognized there, man. What if you just thrown in Leonard Peltier, right? My gosh, that guy needs to be pardoned. Why didn't Obama do it? I'm just saying, if Peltier just cheated on his taxes or had some face tattoos or something, put Lil Leonard Peltier, he'd be a free man right now. All he did was to stand up to the U.S. government to assert the rights of a group that had its rights stolen, but without storming the Capitol. What else?
Hey there,
Hey,
Steve.
it's Lyle Gerber, my executive producer.
Congrats on 100 episodes.
Yes,
That's just great.
Thank you for all
I
your
do
help
what
on
I
these
can.
100 shows.
You gonna tell them the big news?
Yeah, we do have big news for
coming up?
next time. With some changes.
Wabba time.
Yes, by all means. Our sponsor, our one sponsor, which we don't really have. We really take donations, but this is a favor. Go ahead there, Lyle.
They got a promotion. If you come in with a Biden hat, a button, bumper sticker, anything, you get a free salmon wabba bowl. And if you have a Trump anything, same deal. Because you're scary.
Wabba dabba doo.
Wabba dabba doo.
Yep. And yes, we don't actually have sponsors. Last week we debuted the anti-sponsor. These are ads for things we don't like. We had the MyPillow guy, and it was amazing. I mentioned this. I know we're running a little long, but I was watching TV tonight, and ad break began. There was 1 second of a MyPillow ad, and it disappeared and went to another ad. And I can only think, I think that I saw the exact moment that they decided to pull his advertising. I mean, there's be no other reason that extra second would be there. Anyway, I choose to believe that. I think it was a cool historic moment. But you can support the show. We have Venmo and PayPal links here on the YouTube thing, and you just look below in the description of this. And if you give in any amount, this is the 100th episode giveaway. Before episode 101, you'll be entered in a little raffle to win a Noon Normal shirt. Jim, can we see that? Thank you. And that's it for this episode, this 100th episode of the New Normal with me, Steve Benaquist. And that's who I am, telling you till next time, if it ain't new, it ain't normal.